Hello everyone, you're welcome to this edition of The Inside on Equinoxe television. We are broadcasting from Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. My name is Ahmed Jonathan. In this edition of the program, we're going to take a critical look at the actual situation on the ground in the crisis-hit northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon. We'll talk about the Decentralization Code and Special Status Bill adopted by Parliament and promulgated into law by the head of state, President Paul Biya. We'll also talk about the way out of the Anglophone crisis that has been pulling on for close to 3 years today. Meet our guest in some few seconds. Our guest in this edition of the program is a member of Cameroon's lower house of parliament from the Fako East constituency. He is a global goodwill ambassador, elections observer, human rights consultant. He has been in legal affairs for more than 10 years, and for more than 5 years he has been involved in election consultancy and management. He is the Secretary General of the Center for Research on Development and Democracy in Africa, an advocate for human rights and development. He is the National Coordinator of the United Action for the Underprivileged. He is a graduate from the National School of Administration and Magistracy, ENAM, and a holder of a master's degree in Public International Law from the University of Douala. He resigned from the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement (CPDM) political party on the 22nd of November 2019 and is now a militant of the Social Democratic Front, the SDF political party. Honorable FRITZ ETOKE, welcome to the program.
Thank you. I want to welcome you to my modest office.
You were recently in Tiku subdivision in the southwest region of the country. What were you doing there?
I went there as usual to close one of my youth football tournaments. You know, part of our commitment during our first mandate is to take care of the youths, and we have been doing it for the past 6 years. We always organize youth football tournaments, and there was one that we decided to do for a couple of days to keep the youths busy during this Xmas period due to the socio-political situation in the northwest and the southwest. You know, as they say, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. So we don't need to leave them loose. We need to make them to be busy. So I just went down yesterday to close the tournament while encouraging them to be calm. I also encouraged them to make sure they respect state institutions. I also told them about my last session of parliament, and some of them were worried to know my political future. I had to speak with some of them.
You have been involved in grassroots football development for close to a decade today. What are the objectives that you're targeting in this initiative?
Well, we just started it like a joke. I want to give credit to my technical director of the academy, Mr. Emmanuel Tanjong, who has been accompanying me for the past years. We've been doing interquarters, but recently we decided to apply to the government to have an authorization for a sports academy, which we obtained, and we are using it to make sure we develop the youths, because it's not everybody that must go to school. Most of them want to play football, but they don't have the means. So that's why we decided that we create this academy with the assistance of some partners. They don't pay a dime. It's free, and we have close to 400 students in the academy for the past 3 years. I think we are doing very well.
And you are operating in an environment hit by socio-political and security tensions. How is the situation in that part of the country, in Anglophone Cameroon, affecting the activities of the academy and the initiative that you put in place with regards to football development?
Well, it's really a difficult task for us, you know, due to the present social dispensation. The activity has slowed down for the past 3 years, but you know, it's something for the common good. So I think the parents are encouraging the students, and even those who are there, they know the benefits of what they are trying to do, because most of them will become professionals with the team we have in place, and we have good partners abroad, and they can't afford to stay at home. the situation, the climate is not that conducive, but I think things are getting to normal. We have to work together with the government to make sure we start enjoying the way we used to enjoy in the Northwest and Southwest regions.
All right, you're permanently in contact with the grassroots. I'm talking about your constituency, Fako East constituency, and the rest of Anglophone Cameroon. What's your take on the actual situation on the ground?
Sincerely, the population is anxiously waiting to see the implementation of the special status bill that was recently promulgated by the head of state. Sincerely speaking, it did not meet totally my aspiration. Not only my aspiration, the aspiration of the youth, because the bulk of the population involved in this crisis are the youths. The youths were expecting much, but they have been given something. Sincerely speaking, we just need to pray. All of us need to pray because things are not moving well for the country. The special status bill that was recently enacted, there are just some small changes. It's the special status was in the Constitution on 18 January 1996, and it has been there for 23 years. If we think that it's only by changing the name of the city council, a government delegate, to become a city mayor, I think we have failed. The special status bill has failed in so many angles. For example, an important bill of that caliber was supposed to have the clergy involved, civil society, and some people abroad to sit in a round table and try to define the special status. But it was single-handedly done by the government, which I think the population is not really happy. Yes, some powers have been given to you have the councils, the local councils. We have the regional house. We have the divisional house. What about the quota for Anglophones in every government? We're supposed to know the quota of Anglophones in any government. Every Cameroonian regional government, we're supposed to know that we're going to have 20% or 10% in the Northwest and Southwest. And secondly, just like in the Southern Cameroons, in those days, there was a commission for the recruitment, sanctioning and promotion of a civil servant. We're supposed to be included there in the special status, which is not there. And we also have, there's a bone of contention in this country to gain admission into these professional schools like ENAM, ERIC, and the rest has been very difficult. We would have sat and determined the quota of Anglophones from the Northwest and Southwest into these institutions too, because this is an opportunity we had to solve all of this at once. But I think maybe with time, but I think we would have done it at once, because if we had done everything at once, it would have accelerated our way towards peace.
Some think that the special status bill, the decentralization code bill, is going to dampen the situation or is going to dampen prospects for peace in those two regions. But as of now, as we speak now, the killings have continued, the abductions, the destruction of properties, arbitrary arrest of persons, and many other atrocities that are still being committed in Anglophone Cameroon. But there are some people who are also looking at the situation on the ground from their own perspective, indicating that the situation is gradually improving. Cardinal Tony, for example, says that it's gradually improving. We are gradually moving towards the return to peace and normalcy in those two regions. Do you think we are moving towards that direction?
I want to say something. We are gradually moving to peace. It will depend what they mean by gradually moving towards peace, because this look at the situation on the ground. It can take us even 5-10 years. We can't comfortably go to parts of our constituency because we know there's insecurity. How many of us can go to our constituencies without the protection of the force of law and order? Sincerely speaking, yes, as compared to 2-3 years ago, it's getting better. We just pray that we need to be honest. This is the time when all of us Cameroonians have to kneel and pray to God. we need to speak the truth. The problem is that we are not speaking the truth. There are some people who are closer to the head of state who are not telling the truth. We need the head of state to know the truth for this crisis to come. You cannot solve a crisis when you who are in charge, you don't speak the truth. We need to put the cards on the table and we'll talk about it before we can have lasting solutions.
Honorable FRITZ ETOKE, who is not saying the truth, who is not speaking the truth? The elite, government ministers who are sent on mission to those two regions.
I want to confess here again that Anglophones and Francophones don't have any problem. The problem is within the Anglophones themselves. Most of our elites who are young, they have lost touch with their population. And instead of using those who they know can be of help to them, they tend to discard some of them. Why? Because they only want to be on top. You can't be on top forever. If sincerely we love our population, we the elites, we need to tell Yaoundé what the population wants. For example, before the dialogue, we had pre-dialogue consultations. We had meetings in Boya, Tiko and Limbe. Everybody, I'm saying it. Some people might not have the courage to say, I've been saying it long ago. I'll still say it now. I'll say it tomorrow. Because history is there to judge us. The people of the Southwest were clamoring for 10-state federation. That's their opinion. We as the elites, we just had to transmit the information to Yaoundé. But during the dialogue, when I took the courage to let everybody know that that's what the population wanted, I want to give kudos to some of the chiefs of FACO. They stood their grounds and accompanied some of us who were there to speak the truth. But it was like a taboo. So what I'm trying to say, the elites are not representing the population any longer. They are representing themselves. That is why we are aware today. If that's the case, do we need Yaoundé to come and be solving the problem for us? We would have gone to our population and told them that, please calm down. We've heard what you said. We are going to Yaoundé. This thing would have ended long ago.
Now the head of state and the government have been undertaking a series of actions, measures intended to restore peace and normalcy in those two regions. And the latest or the most recent is the promulgation into law of the Decentralization and Special Status Bill. But you are indicating that that bill is not responding, is not reflecting the aspirations of the people of those two regions. And the head of state have promulgated it into law, and implementation will probably be coming in the days or months ahead. Do you think that the decision that the head of state has taken is not the right decision? It's not going to yield the expected fruits?
The head of state is there to promulgate laws that are voted in parliament. We were there in parliament. We voted for the laws. We of the SDF party that belong now, we didn't vote for the laws. We didn't vote for that bill. But some of our brothers from the Anglophone regions decided to abandon their population and voted for it. The head of state has done his job. The only problem now is that when you are going for any negotiation, you don't intend to have everything. We've have something now. I want to say I appreciate it. But the problem is, what is the time frame for its implementation? The constitution of 1996 was there. It took 23 years. We did not implement. Now the bill on special status is there. We voted the budget before the bill came up. Let's see. Are they going to do another adjustment in the budget to make sure it accompanies the implementation this year? We don't know if it's going to start from January. Let's wait and see.
That bill was discussed and adopted by the lower house of parliament, and you're a member of the lower house of parliament. Tell us, how did it happen? How did it unfold in the extraordinary session convened on the request of the head of state? How did the examination of this bill unfold right up to the point of adoption? Was this just a letter that went through a post office?
That's the right term you've used. The parliament in Cameroon is just like a post office. If you ask me, my humble opinion is that they should close the parliament. It's a waste of taxpayers' money. How can we be in a parliament where we can't debate bills? When this bill came up, the SDF party, we of the SDF party, will raise a preliminary objection. We was discarded as usual. the bill went through. So we've washed our hands. We've tried our best. We're very few. We have a minority parliamentary group. The CPDM is there with their population. They voted for the bill. So we just have to wait for the implementation. The only thing Cameroonians have to know now, if you want the parliament to function the way it's supposed to function, the time is coming very soon. They should know what to do.
How can a parliament, this is a question that somebody who's listening to you now will be asking, how can a parliament that is supposed to be a lawmaking house become a post office?
I want to ask you a question. Have you ever heard that a bill comes to parliament and goes back to the government for adjustment?
And the question is why? Why is it so that bills are just passing through the parliament?
Because we have outlived our usefulness. We are not there to serve the population. Some people are there just to feed their stomachs. That a parliament is a very important institution, like in other countries. Look at the way parliament functions in other countries in Africa. As in Cameroon, when I was going to parliament, I was very proud as a jurist. I was very excited. I knew that the input was going to be enormous. But I went there, I realized that it's not what I think. I just pray that after these elections, we could have young men, so many young men, who could stand for the population, because a parliament made up of old people is useless. We need young people who are efficient, who can do work for the population. Most of them are there, they are only thinking about themselves.
They're not thinking about the blood flowing in the northwest, they're not thinking about the blood spilling in the southwest region.
If they are thinking about the blood
going on, the hundreds of thousands of people displaced.
It's really unfortunate. It's really unfortunate that with what is going on, some people still remain adamant to change. No, it's unheard of. Because a situation like this, we have been clamoring for dialogue for a while. Close to 3 years, the dialogue came. But we were there, some people, they were useless. We didn't hear, they didn't offer a word. Now, they brought the special status. They would have advised that this special status bill, before sending it to parliament, they would have sat. If you ask me who are those who sat and tell me the special status, I will tell you I don't know. It wasn't supposed to be done by a single party. It was supposed to be done by those involved. As I said earlier, the clergy was supposed to be involved. The civil society was supposed to be involved. Our brothers from the diaspora were supposed to be involved. Those who still have Republican values from abroad were supposed to be. Some of them are still there.
The Prime Minister did some consultations before the major national dialogue. He received some clergymen, civil society leaders, political leaders, even diasporans, and so on. Even though at that moment we were not yet talking about the special status, it was still dialogues or consultations leading up to the major national dialogue. And today we're talking about a special status that has been defined by people, one party, maybe the head of state. Some people put it that way, that the head of state single-handedly defined the content of the special status, but government is indicating that we receive some people from the two regions and sought their opinions and things like that.
I want to confess that the head of state that we have
the elites of the two regions failed their people?
Yes, the elites. The elites, something like this, they would have called some youths. They will sit, a handful of them, and divide the special status for everybody. No, it's not going to work that way. Sincerely speaking, go down. I was down there yesterday. I'm always there. Some of them hardly come down this way. Yaoundé is their permanent home. We are talking because we are in permanent contact with the population. The population expected much more than this, but this is what has been offered to us, so we'll take it for a start.
I saw a newspaper report that said the Anglophones asked for a goat, and the head of state gave the rope tied to the goat's neck and held back the goat. Is that a perfect description of the special status?
Me, I will beg to differ because I'm not close to the head of state. And I believe in my office here, my workers do the bulk of the job. I do, but just maybe I just sign. I do it. Very, very little thing here. The head of state is there. What do you expect the head of state to do if we, the people that are concerned, we are not ready to solve the problem? We are not ready to solve the problem. I just want to go to a simple example. During the dialogue, we had the opportunity to talk. How many Anglophones spoke their minds? How many of them? In the government, how many of them? All of us are only thinking about our stomach, how we are going to protect our positions, but it's unfortunate. The population is suffering because of our egoism.
Honorable, we are going to take a look at what the newspapers reported this week, and after the press review, we'll talk about the resignation of our guest from the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, CPDM political party. He is now a member of the Social Democratic Front. Stay with us. Eden reports that the Special Status and Decentralization Bill dampens prospects for peace in the crisis-hit southwest and northwest regions of Cameroon. The paper highlights reactions of the Social Democratic Front, which slams it as a voluminous emptiness, and Christian Cardinal Tumi, who is reported to have set President Paul Biya, lied to him and other conveners of the Anglophone General Conference on grounds that the content of the special status does not reflect their proposals. According to Eden, Anglophones asked for a goat, and the head of state gave the rope tied to the goat's neck and is holding back the goat. The Horizon says President Biya should postpone elections in the Anglophone regions until he has put in place the necessary peace. And still concerning the February 9, 2020 municipal and legislative elections, the advocates report a smooth transition in clear gestation in Mamfe in the southwest region of Cameroon. On the road to the February 9, 2020 elections, the Sun highlights what is qualified as an attack by a U.S. congresswoman on separatists over kidnappings. With regards to the security challenges hitting Cameroon in at least 4 regions, the deadly natural catastrophe in the west regional chief town Bafoussam and other problems in President Biya's country, The Voice describes 2020 as a tumultuous year grinding to a grievous end. As reported by the Guardian Post and the Post, the Sun set at dawn on the latter, with the death of its publisher, the seasoned trainer, incisive journalist and politician Francis Wache died at 64. You're welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. Honorable FRITZ ETOKE, you resigned from the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement CPDM political party on the 22nd of November 2019. What triggered your resignation? Why did you leave the CPDM?
I will exceptionally talk about it. Since my resignation, I decided to stay calm. I've been a militant of the CPDM since 1995. As a child, I grew up within the ranks of the party. I realized that the head of state, the national chairman of the CPDM party, despite all his efforts to make sure that the party moves smoothly, some of his people down have decided to take the party the party hostage. I realized this during the reorganization in 2015.
The reorganization of grassroots organs of the party.
In 2015, the national president signed a circular laying the modalities for eligibility for various positions. Some people think that CPDM is their private property. It isn't. Some of us were targets. They saw, politics. You don't force somebody to do politics. It's in some of us. When some of us became members of parliament, we amplified what we used to do with the little resources that we had, and we made sure the monies we are given in Yaoundé as micro grants, micro projects, we used it judiciously. And that's why for my first mandate, I think I can move with shoulders high, that I represented my people the way I was supposed to. 2015, some of us were victims because the text stipulated that to become a section president, you are supposed to live in the area where you are waiting for the position, or your office should be there. The exceptions were members of parliament and mayors. My office is in Mutengene. It has been here in Mutengene for the past how many years? For the past 6 years. But to my greatest dismay, my list was rejected. I'm talking about 2015. The same with the mayor of Boya, the late mayor of Boya. May his soul rest in peace. That is Mr. Ekema Patrick Esunge. His list too was rejected. And their reason was that we're becoming too popular. Well, if they say we're becoming too popular, I don't know why we should do politics if we don't want to become popular. It was since then we knew that the party was not moving the way the head of state wanted, because if people could go that extra length to violate the head of state instructions, that we should not be section president. Meanwhile, the party knew that we were the ones who were spending for the party, because after the parliamentary election, I was running the party in Tico single-handedly. All the party activities, I have my receipts. I was running the party single-handedly. Even for the organization that were supposed to vie in for a section president, when those same people used to come to Tico for placement of party cards, I remember I used to give close to 1 million, about 3 times, 4 times. The second person gave 40,000 francs. I have the records there. The people they came and their candidates that they brought abandoned the party, and we were not seeing them in the party activities for the past 3 years since election till when the organization came. So because of that, I knew that they had their game planned on some of us.
I want us to get things very clear. Who did what?
Well, I don't want to call names here. We are in the festive period when this Christmas period is a period for forgiveness. The divisional coordinator for the CPDM party for FACO removed our names. It was an instruction because the person that was in charge in Tico called me and told me everything. I don't want to mention names here. The person that was in charge called me and said, well, you are the most qualified. Why is it that they want to remove your name? The same thing happened in Boya. I stayed calm. That didn't discourage me. I continued my parliamentary work. And these same people, for the past how many years I've been in parliament, it has been hell for me. You cannot imagine that as an Anglophone member of parliament, I was not invited during the Commonwealth, which was being organized by the same person from FACO. And for 6 years, I've never gone on any parliamentary mission, either in the country or abroad. My name has always been removed. This is something the population might not know. I wrote to the same person, copied the central committee, copied the presidency. It's fortunate I have it here. This is a copy of what I wrote in 2015. I copied the person. I went and gave her in a house in Boya. I went. So before, when this investiture was launched, I went to the central committee. I told them that I'm going down. I already know what they are going to do. I told them in Yaoundé. I came we had a meeting in Yaoundé, we were summoned for a meeting in Yaoundé. And what happened? The circular is there. That those who have parliamentary mandates, who have 3 mandates, should not come back. The head of state did not say, if you hold any position, that should be that you should be given priority to come back to parliament. No. If they say the head of state said that the administration is written, let them show us the document. The head of state is in the secular is to encourage the youth and those who could win the party. You can tell me if there's anybody in FACO who has done what I've done as a member of parliament. This is my parliamentary logbook for 6 years. The Speaker of the National Assembly, he knows. I drop this every year. No parliamentarian in FACO has ever done this. I have been here for 6 years. And this, only the micro project cannot do it. I have friends who have been assisting me for 6 years. And I knew their game plan right from Yaoundé. I was told. And some of them, people that have not been communicating with me for about 4 years, suddenly became my friends because they were spies. There's a leaked audio call when they were trying to cajole me. But unfortunately for them, people within their ranks cautioned me, and I knew what they were about to do. And I had my plan B. You cannot imagine that they said in the Central Committee that if we're not able to do a consensus, let us go for elections. We'll come down to Limbe. These same people who are candidates just like myself, you cannot be a player and a referee. They live their own constituencies. They are influencing people who are in charge in the University Committee in my constituency. And up to about midnight, first of all, they came with the forms. They did not give me the forms. The same running mate, the same people they want me to run with, they put her to be working with me as a spy. I knew, and she encouraged me to go to Central Committee to take the forms. Why they had their own, they went and took the forms from the Central Committee, and they put their marks there. But unfortunately for them, my hands are clean. The same people in their committee called me, somebody called me, and gave me the forms. They gave me the forms. They didn't know. How will it come that a sitting member of parliament, you come for investiture, up to about midnight, you don't give me the forms when you're supposed to deposit the next day at 2 a.m. When they are ordered their preferred party, they are giving the forms. And these same people, they leave their constituency, come to my constituency. These selections of how many candidates, all of them rejected. They finally took somebody who is close to me to stand against me. It's a pity. I told the divisional heads of the investiture committee, Mr. Ndima Gabriel, I met him, I told him, I said, you are the one who was in charge to disqualify me during the reorganization. Please, the text says if there's no consensus, we have to go for elections. I told him. I want to appreciate.
What was his response?
Because these same people, the same people who claim to be head of the party in FACO, called the section president not to give our alternate endorsement letters. The running mate I took was giving her endorsement. She's from Bindia. She was giving her endorsement letter. So our alternates didn't have from Moyuka and from Limbe 1. They didn't have. But I told I wrote a petition I gave to the head, the divisional head. He told me I was going to handle it. He did his job diligently. He forwarded the document to the Central Committee. But he couldn't leave the division and go straight to Yaoundé. He had to pass through Boya. And the regional head was Senator Tabetando, whom those same people called severally, even met, told him to disqualify me. I called him severally, he didn't pick. I sent some people who went and met him, and he said they had given him instruction to disqualify me. Why disqualify me?
And who gave him instructions?
The people who claim to be the head of the party in FACO, they gave instructions to disqualify me. Why? Why should they disqualify me? So I had to talk with my population. I am not a member of parliament on my behalf. I'm representing my population.
For the people. Before your resignation on November 22nd, 2019, it is reported that you were receiving death threats. Is that true?
Yes, severally. And these same people, maybe they think that to be their friend, I must inherit their enemies. They had no FACO. The degree of enmity in politics in CPDM, FACO, is alarming. I must not be your enemy's enemy. So that was one of the reasons why they hated me. But sincerely speaking, I can't inherit somebody's enemy.
What's responsible for this infighting in the CPDM and precisely in the FACO division? What is the cause?
I think the party gave powers to the wrong people. Give powers to the wrong people. We have people in the division who could as well handle position. You cannot be a member of parliament and you are the head controlling everybody. You want to make sure you put only your own people. No, CPTM party is a party. It's a rassemblement. It has to assemble everybody. Normally, everybody must not be your person. In the same party, we're supposed to be friends, but they did everything to make sure we are enemies. Sincerely speaking, resigning from the CPDM was a very difficult decision to take. I had to consult my population. I took the decision and they're happy. After my resignation, about 15 militants of the party have also resigned.
Before the death of the former mayor of Boya, Ekema Patrick Esunge, he too was complaining of receiving such death threats from the same people.
Yes, severally. I remember during the dialogue, some of the same person who called me and was recording it. It's a pity that somebody who's close to 60 years will call a young man like me and record it. It's first of all a criminal offense, but I'm forgiving him. We are in the Christmas period. It's a time to forgive. I'm forgiving him. I would have sued him. It's a criminal offense. He does not know it's good to go to school. The problem with some of these people in FACO, they don't want to see the young people grow, but there's nobody that can stop a moving train. And you know, I was not deep into politics. I don't believe serving my people. I must only do it under the banner of the CPDM party. They used to say a good player does not lack a team. But to me, I think that it's a good team that looks for the best players. SDF, FACO, they have a very good team. That's why I decided to join them. I wouldn't have joined them if I did not see them trustworthy. I prefer SDF. I've been with them for just close to. I'm very comfortable. And with the responsibility they have given me in the SDF party, I think we are going to make SDF a place to be. Just give me 1 year. You see what we'll do with the SDF party in FACO. People are disgruntled everywhere in FACO.
Why the SDF? You resign from the CPDM. There are other political parties. The CRM that is coming up very powerfully. We have other political parties. The CPDM, the CPP, the PAP, and many others. Why the SDF?
Immediately after my resignation, I received phone calls from more than 10 political parties. I want to let you know that I have some people in the SDF from the same village, and I admire their ways. And I wanted a party that respects Republican values. I did not see that in any other party than the SDF. Well, I'm with the SDF now. I'm very comfortable with them. But there's something I want to let you know. They've decided that we should go in for the elections. I've had about 2 or 3 meetings with the. Sincerely speaking, it's a nice place, SDF. You need to meet where you meet the party hierarchy. You talk with them. In our own, you see people, normal people, the national chairman, you can't meet him. People who are down, they behave as if they are gods. The SDF party has a platform where youths can excel. If you look at my resignation letter, one of my reasons for resigning was that the minorities are not protected. And the youths don't have a place for the CPDM in FACO division. In the CPDM. We are going in for the elections very soon. All the candidates are from FACO. And you know that it's a local election, they're not going to vote for the party, they'll vote for the individuals. Let's wait and see.
Honorable, let's take some interviews right now, and when we come back, we'll talk about the ambitions of Honorable FRITZ Ngeka ETOKE in the Social Democratic Front. Stay with us.
When you have a crisis, nobody knows exactly what will solve this crisis. It can be things you don't expect, or you can prepare yourself duly and find that at the end of the day, the crisis is not over. The government knows that this crisis is very dangerous. The more the crisis lasts, the more dangerous it is, in a way that it can destroy the whole country. Like a small hurt, a small injury can lead you to die if you don't take care properly. The government has started, considering that it's just a turmoil which can be solved via administration, the governors, the DOs, the SDOs. And okay, they tried to do it. No solution. Then they took other means, especially they asked soldiers to try to face some people who have guns. They were quite certain that the solution is there. No solution. The crisis continues. The government took an initiative of major dialogue, calling all the people, including the one in the bush and including the one in diaspora. So let's come together and see how we can solve this crisis. It didn't work. But in this dialogue, they promised to set up a special status for the regions in crisis. It's the solution they are bringing. First of all, my profound desire is peace. So if there is any way to go to peace, I'm ready for that. This is why, if the government believes that it can lead to peace, okay, I'm expecting and hope that they'll be right.
Our intention is to see that women are being trained to be able to prepare mission reports, to be able to execute mission statements, and also to be able to build their economy, beginning from their home, their communities, right up to the nations. Like of recent, we just, the CRM boycotted the municipal and parliamentary elections. It's a continuation of our training, because we are training our women to be perfect mayors of tomorrow's election, to be perfect parliamentarians, be able to bring up projects at the National Assembly that will suit the community. Because if you want to look, you will discover that there are a lot of projects that are being left undone by mayors, by deputies, because they don't have the background, the know-how on how to start this project, how to commence, how to middling with the project, and how to end this project. So that's why the CRM, under my leadership, the National Women's President, have decided to take this training, to train our women to be better administrators in Cameroon.
We are very happy to celebrate this Christmas in this period, special period for our country in Cameroon. We thank God because we find lights from the message of the gospel coming from the Christmas. First of all, we have the importance of faith. We cannot build our country without God. Secondly, we want to emphasize to the importance of the peace of hearts deeply among the people. Thirdly, we can say that God is calling us to be involved. People of goodwill, people who accept benevolence, to work together, to walk together, to live together. Without this love between us, it's impossible for us to succeed our challenges, calling us to great unity and great common life.
Every appointment is an opportunity for us to thank God for giving us the opportunity to serve in His church. And I want to thank God for choosing me to be the apostolic administrator in the Diocese of Boya. Bishop Emmanuel Bushu reached the age of retirement and according to canon law wrote to the Holy Father, asking for resignation. The resignation has been accepted, and I happen to be the one that has been chosen to go down to the Diocese of Boya in order to take over from him until when they will have their local ordinary. So I want to thank God for choosing me, sinful and unworthy as I am, to be able to carry out that responsibility. And I know, of course, that being the auxiliary bishop of Bamenda for this length of time and going to Boya now as the apostolic administrator will give me the opportunity to continue to see how I can serve the people of Boya and the people of Bamenda until when the Holy Father again will appoint the Bishop of Boya. I'm sure if the Holy Father decided to maintain me as the auxiliary bishop of Bamenda and at the same time appointed me as the apostolic administrator in the Diocese of Boya, he knows, of course, that it will entail a lot of movement. There are programs I have in Bamenda that I have to accomplish. At the same time, there are programs that I have to meet in Boya that I'll be able to accomplish it. I know it will be a lot of movement, but I'm sure God is there to give us the strength. And all I pray for is that God should give me good health, should give me the strength that I need so that either in Bamenda or Boya, wherever my services will be demanded, I should be able to render it and render it faithfully. Bishop Emeritus of Boya, Emmanuel Bushu, he has been doing a lot of work there as he took over from Bishop Pius Awa. And I think I just have to go and continue in their footsteps to see what pastoral programs they have, what spiritual programs they have, and I put all their projects and all what they are doing, I put everything together and working together with the priests, the religious and the laity, and in consultation with the fellow bishops of the province and other people who have goodwill for the Diocese of Boya, I am sure I'll be able to render services, according to the mind of the church.
Njikan Gabriel is my name. I'm opportune to talking to Equinoxe, and I'm happy you're here. I'm a Catholic Christian from my baptism to present day. And I must say I knew for Bishop Emmanuel Bushu quite a long time back as a young secondary school boy, 1977, when he taught us in high school. He taught me history in this Bishop Regan College. This is the kind of man I knew who was very, very prayerful. He taught us to be prayerful and assiduous in prayers. He equally taught us how to be very, very flexible in our decisions. In other words, he is the kind of person who has let a lot of things go, not just for the sake of letting them go, but because he believe that every human being was meant to use his freedom and use his freedom rightly. So I think Bishop Bushu deserves this rest. He deserves that. He's done well.
You're welcome back. Honorable FRITZ, ETOKE, you're now a member of the Social Democratic Front. What are your ambitions?
I just want to use the opportunity, first of all, to thank the national chairman of the SF party, who received me like a father and gave me that preference, the pride of place to head the SDF list in Fako. It's not given to anybody. This goes a long way to show that I've been on the ground. The facts are there. Res ipsa loquito, as we say in law. The facts are there to prove. The facts will speak for themselves. Well, I don't think I have any other ambition than staying focused with my parliamentary career and to continue my mandate after the 9th of February.
Continue serving the people.
I know the people put me where I am. They are going to give me the opportunity to serve them in a second mandate. But the population has to know. I don't want to call names. One party that is an alliance with the CPDM, the national chairman once said that they know the party that used to fraud during elections. I know the party. I was there. They should be ready to go to the field and campaign. If they are waiting to fraud this next election, it will be very difficult for them.
You're joining the Social Democratic Front at a very crucial moment when the country is hit by socio-political crisis in the political base, what can be considered as the political base of the Social Democratic Front, the Northwest and the Southwest regions, and of recent there have been a series of attacks on the Social Democratic Front, separatists calling on the national chairman to withdraw his parliamentarians from the house of, from the lower and the upper houses of parliament, calling on the national chairman to abandon his federalist stand and join them on the other side. When you look at all these attacks on the Social Democratic Front, what do you think is the problem?
Well, I think some people don't know what it is. It will be difficult. It will never happen that Cameroon will be divided. Some people sit abroad, they just think that they can intimidate people here. It's not possible. With what the national chairman has done for this nation. Remember in 1990, who could talk against the government? He did it. And it's because of the Social Democratic Front that today you have the freedom of press and the rest. It did not exist. And it's difficult for them to just sit, for them to sit abroad and think they can dictate things for us to follow. It's not possible. The best way to solve this Anglophone crisis is to fight from within. I believe that's the reason why the SDF has never withdrawn its members of parliament. Well, I just want to call on our brothers abroad to know that if they want to succeed, they just have to allow the SDF to continue with what it has been doing. I've been in parliament for 6 years. The SDF has been doing an enormous job. That's the reason why I did not have to think twice. When I resigned, I did not want to. I wanted to stay away from politics. I had got calls from CPDM, top CPDM militants. I got calls from them, especially when the people in Fako wanted to stay with my documents so that I should go to Yaoundé on Sunday night so that I could not follow up in the central committee. I did not want to. I would have deposited in Libe or Boya. I took my file away in Yaoundé parliamentary session. I went back. When I got some calls, I said no, I had to do it. That's when I went to deposit. I deposited my documents for the SDF because I know the SDF is the only platform where Anglophones can achieve what they really want. It's not on social media that will ever achieve it. It's not possible. It's not on social media.
Something that is SDF should have boycotted the February 9, 2020 municipal and legislative elections, but you're going to be heading the list, the parliamentary list of the SDF in the Fako division.
It's really difficult because for close to a year and a half, I've been to my constituency. I've been to part of my constituency, Moyuka subdivision, just once. It's a no-go area. I don't see how elections are even going to take place there. But I'm now under the SDF platform. If the national chairman says we are not going in for the election, I won't go in for the election. But if he says we are going for the election, I'm ready to go in for the election. But sincerely speaking, any Anglophone who has a good heart, has to tell the people that Northwest and Southwest is not conducive for any meaningful elections.
And that's why during a recent press conference in Yaoundé, the first vice president of the SDF, Honorable O.C. Joshua, was calling on the head of state to solve this problem, to ensure that there is the atmosphere is conducive before February 9, so that elections can effectively take place.
I think the government needs to do something. But we should not every day, we should not sit and say the government. What have we done? The government cannot solve the Anglophone crisis alone. We need to accompany the government. It's just that some people don't want the government to meet the people that can assist them. Everything cannot be done in Yaoundé. Most of those who sit in Yaoundé and talk, can they go to their places without armor cars, without security men? No. The answer is no. A very big no.
Whatever the case as of now, the elections will be taking place as per the calendar of the head of state, as per the decision of the head of state on February 9, 2020. When you look at your constituency today, what are some of the immediate things? When you look at your constituency and the rest of Anglophone Cameroon, what are some of the immediate actions that should be taken in order to drive the country out of the troubled waters?
Normally, I think the government has to first of all create an enabling environment. You see, during the compilation of the various lists, it was difficult. Like we don't have a municipal list in Moyuka. The people who had the courage to give their names, those guys in the bushes called them not to. They couldn't. So how do you think election is going to take place in Moyuka? I'm talking, that's my constituency. I can even go to part of my constituency. There are MPs who are living hotel deputy for the past 2 years. And some of them even have the courage to say election can take place. So they are thinking only about their stomachs. They are behaving like some of those elites in Yaoundé. Why can we not sit and solve this thing once and for all? You see, there's a special status. That is what is on the lips of everybody now, special status. If you ask them what is special status, what is special in the special status, they will not tell you. What is special? The only thing I've seen there for now, what I know that everybody knows, is that they are changing the name of the government to, from city council, from government delegate to city mayor. Some of the conditions to become a government delegate is that you have to be a councillor. We compiled the list before special status came. Don't you think that this person would have come first? Because there are people who might want to be government delegate whose names are not on the list. They would have done, to me, they are supposed to carry out the exercise all over. To me. And we are waiting the days ahead. I believe the political parties, the opposition political parties, are supposed to file a petition to the Constitutional Council. They have to do it. They have to do it to cancel the entire electoral process.
The whole thing should be overhauled and
we have to start afresh.
Start all over.
Start afresh. And to stop this crisis, it's not only talking about special status. It has to be fast. We have to start with the implementation. It can still be there for 23 years. We knew that this 1992 constitution was going to take 23 years. The truth is that if they had implemented the dispensation which was enshrined in the Constitution of 18 January 1996, would they have arrived where we are today? So it's not only in papers. It should be in papers, actions.
It should be concrete on the ground. Honorable, we are ending up this edition of the program. We are rounding up this edition of The Inside. Do you have a last word to say, a last message for Anglophone Cameroonians first and the Yaoundé administration?
What I have to say is that all of us, we're in a very critical situation in our country, in our country's history. All of us have to put our hands together to make sure we solve this crisis. The government too should try to have listening ears. It's like at times when they take their decision, they can't go back and review. We, all of us, our intentions are to make sure we make Cameroon a living heaven for us. There's nobody who hates Cameroon. All of us want Cameroon to move ahead. I think I will just have to call on the administration in Yaoundé to do something. That special status, it's a good initiative. All of us have to applaud. But it's not going to solve the present crisis, except they want it to prolong. All of us know that it's getting better. For how long are we going to say it's getting better? It can stay like this for 10 years. For 10 years. But if we try to carry out accompanying measures, we sign texts of applications that are going to accompany some of these resolutions, I think things are going to be better. I'll just have to seize this opportunity now to wish a happy new year to the people of the Northwest and Southwest region, especially to the IDPs. Some of them are suffering. Now it's even difficult to even meet them. I just did yesterday, I did a small gesture. I sent through an NGO to go and give some of my people in Moyuka, yes, who are in the bushes, around Kata. I would have loved to be there as I used to go to Munyenge. But you see, I cannot go there. I even doubt how I'm going to campaign. So I just want to call on everybody to know that this is the time is coming when they have to use their powers to change things. If they can't change up there, they can change the local administration by voting for the right persons. Voting for competent individuals, not voting for the party, any party. Vote for an individual, don't vote for any party. Thank you.
Honorable, thank you so much for accepting to join us on this edition of The Inside.
Thank you. Wish you happy new year.
Thank you. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us in this edition of The Inside. Another edition will be coming up next Sunday.